Newstalk1490.com. It's all about living your life like it's going. For real, my girl Jill Scott. My main man.
New show.
Yeah. I heard about this new show. I haven't had the opportunity to see. How is it?
It's really good. I was impressed. Her and Ani Nuki, whatever, the woman who was from Dreamgirls.
Okay. Oh, right.
Yeah, and it's filmed in Botswana. It's a very good show. It's called The #1 Ladies Detective Agency by Alexander McCall.
And it's filmed in Botswana.
It's filmed in Botswana. It's on HBO for those of you who have it.
It's a great show.
It's a great show. You watched it, Karen?
Yes.
It's good? Yeah, I have to check that out. What channel is it on?
It's HBO. So I saw it in a hotel in Chicago.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
It's an HBO series, actually.
Right. That's what Dr. Jason just said. Right. Time is 7:54. So does President Barack Obama even care about this, man?
I think that he probably expects this. I mean,
honorary degree thing, man. Does it matter?
I think to him, he's still going to show up. He's still going to smile. He's still going to give a speech. I think it's just the hostility that's sort of thrust upon him in office. I mean, there are a lot of different things that President Obama is facing right now that are unprecedented. He has to deal with it. And again, I say this absolutely candidly. Mm-hmm. You cannot tell me logically and realistically that there is not a racial undercurrent to denying him what is a fairly basic honor.
Right.
Okay? Even if you look at this compared to most other institutions, a lot of colleges, when you come and speak, they will give you a doctorate.
Right.
Okay? They're not even offering him a doctorate. I can even understand them saying, we're not going to give him a doctorate. They don't want to give him a bachelor's degree.
Oh, my goodness. I thought it was a doctorate.
No, it's a bachelor's
degree.
degree.
My God. Who cares?
And so, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
And so to deny him something so petty and to incur the kind of public embarrassment that they're incurring, there is an emotional attachment they have to denying him this that I cannot say is rational.
Right.
And therefore it must fall to either, again, if you didn't vote for Barack Obama, if you abhor his policies, if you think he's grossly incompetent and unqualified for the position, then you just shouldn't have invited him.
Right.
And that would have been perfectly reasonable.
Exactly. Do you think that he will address it?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I mean,
even in a joking manner.
Not even in a joking manner. One of the things about Obama that's been abundantly clear throughout the entire campaign and today is, he's stainless steel on the outside. Mm-hmm. The slings and arrows that are thrown at him, he doesn't get hostile. He doesn't get angry. He stays very calm. And plus, you got to remember, strategically, he wants to make a good showing in Arizona mm-hmm. because he's trying to do better in those western states as we go into the next election, which is never too far away if you're elected president of the United States. So, but what I think is also important for the public to take into consideration is, before people jump up and down and scream and yell and decry the state of Arizona and things like that, which I think is unnecessary, what we do have to remember is that the degree to which, the nation is facing a financial crisis. We have two wars going on in two different countries. To the degree that we refuse to rally behind a president that we have right now, he's the only one we have. Okay,
right.
So you can be critical of him, but to the degree that you insult the office, it diminishes our nation as a whole. And again, I felt the very same way about George Bush. There are lots of people who dislike what George Bush did, but you cannot diminish the office. The rest of the world looks at that and says, my goodness, if his own country won't respect him, why should we respect you in international relations?
Now, hold on now. I think that the office sometimes diminishes itself.
True.
And, even at, sometimes we can have this blind patriotism, mm-hmm. whereas, we stand up for America even though she's in the wrong.
Right.
And I think that the true love is saying, hey, man, Doc, man, you was wrong for that, man. Rather than saying, you know what, that's my guy, man. No matter what he did, I'm going to stand up for him. So I think that, if anybody is going to better this country, it's going to be those who speak out against the wrong that exists.
And I completely agree. And the distinction that I make, for example, is insulting the office versus disagreeing with the person or the policies or their qualifications. When George Bush spoke at Yale, if you wanted to stand up and turn your back to him, I think that's perfectly reasonable protest. Throwing a shoe at him, like the guy did in Iraq, that's kind of unnecessary.
Now, why is it unnecessary?
Because it's insulting the office.
When thousands of lives, they're lucky that they just threw a shoe at him.
That is true.
And not something else.
And to be fair, mind you, he was in another country.
Right.
So
in the very country
right.
that they destroyed. So, I mean, that makes a fantastic point, and that is, how should we react to the indecency that exists? Because what I'm beginning to see is this, Doc, is it the individual, or does the problem lay in the office? Because when you go to McDonald's, right? McDonald's has a certain way that the manager should be.
Right.
You make this, you do this, you do that. So if the person continues to be the same type of person over and over again, no matter who comes into that position, is it that individual, or is it the qualifications of that business? Because America is a business.
I'm going to take that allegory a bit further, and this refers to something we talked to off air. KRS-One discussed this at one point, and he said, if you're unhappy with the burger, you go to the manager, you go back and forth. That's like going to the courts. But the fact of the matter is, you never see the franchise owner, and that's the problem. We often don't speak to the franchise owner, and there are forces that even presidents have to be sensitive to, that presidents have to be concerned with. I mean, the G20, for example, it's 20 of the most powerful economies on the face of the planet. Those people aren't elected. I mean, they're elected officials from countries, but our president still has to take those groups into consideration. We don't directly elect, who runs the United Nations, but the president still has to take those kinds of people into consideration.
Right.
We don't elect, as we talked about before, the Federal Reserve is not, Congressman Dennis Kucinich said the Federal Reserve is about as Federal Express, okay? But the Federal Reserve still sets interest rates. So there are lots of forces, usually economic, that our president has to listen to and has to work with, that we don't elect directly. So, yes, can we critique him? Yes, I think it's reasonable. I think it's patriotic. Do we still need to respect the office? I do think that's important, or it diminishes the country. Do we also need to be informed enough citizens so that our criticism are directed at the right person? Yes.
Who will it be direct? Because in reality, the president is the manager, but he's not the franchise owner of this country.
Exactly. The only way that you can sort of speak to the franchise owner, to continue with the allegory, is you talk to your Congress people. Like I said, Congressman Dennis Kucinich, he knows what he's talking about. Most members of Congress know what's being talked about. We had an election last fall. Okay, Barack Obama gets elected. John McCain loses. Literally hundreds and hundreds of people in the House and the Senate voted for a bailout of the banks that 98% of the public was against. Yet many of those people got reelected. I wouldn't vote for somebody who just gave $700 billion of my money to a bank with absolutely no way to determine where that money is going to be going. That's not wise as an American citizen. See, we have rights in this country. We have a way to stand up to decisions that we don't like.
Right.
But more often than not, people want to get caught up in personalities. They want to get caught up in minutia. At the end of the day, and we have this conversation again with the thing in the New York Post and the picture of the monkey, whatever else it is.
Right.
At the end of the day, I could care less. I could care less whether Barack Obama gets a degree from Arizona State or not.
Right.
I'm concerned about the United States being $786 billion in debt to China,
or or having a new war.
Exactly, or having a new war in Afghanistan. My tax money, where the blood of American men, women, and children are going to be spent, are infinitely more important. And those are things that transcend who happens to be in office for this particular week or month.
Yes, sir.
And that's where people's minds need to be. If you want to get caught up on tea parties, you want to get caught up on taxes, you want to get caught up on those issues, that's all well and fine. You want to get caught up on the minuscule snubs that are thrown at President Barack Obama, that's fine. I do think they're significant for cultural reasons.
Definitely.
But you don't want to lose track of the larger issues here.
Yes, I agree. It's always a pleasure, Dr. Jason
Always
Johnson.
A pleasure.
Always a pleasure, man. My folks over at Hiram College, man, you guys are lucky to have a professor of this caliber, Dr. Jason Johnson, man. Appreciate you, brother. All right, listen, man, you guys, give us a call, 216-578-1490. I know my main man got to go and do his thing in the classroom.